Hey there, Brady here with your daily tennis lessons. So we're looking at power generators this week at DTL, and today we're looking at the serve. And I'll be honest, we could have a really long chat about all the elements that could give us more power on our serve. It's just today, I think I have three that are pretty easy to kind of latch onto and three that I think are very helpful. All right, so the first would be the toss. As we all know, every great server we've ever seen has a toss that's just perfectly dialed to their body. All right, and the idea that I want you to lock into, I know it needs to be high, you know, it shouldn't be spinning all that much, but the main idea on the toss that I want you focused on is that the toss stays in front of your body. We need to have space between where the ball goes up and where we're standing. And while I don't want it too far forward because I can't foot fault obviously, the last thing we want if we're trying to get more power on a serve is a ball that sits on top of us and makes us lean back where we're getting played by the tennis ball. All right, so I think a couple really helpful little drills. Go out there, you don't even need a racket for some of these, but work on a toss that lands in front of the baseline. And based on how tall you are, for some of the taller players like myself out there, this ball should definitely end up probably 8 inches out in front of the baseline. But for many of you out there that are just average height, a ball that lands just in front of the baseline is going to put you in a great position to get more power on your serve. It's very similar to a forehand or a backhand. We've talked about needing to make contact in front of the lead foot, because if we're making contact behind the lead foot, everything gets jammed up. And it's the same with the serve, and the great thing about the serve is we're controlling how far in front of us this is. So it's important to practice a toss that goes up and stays in front of your body. The second idea that I think is really key for getting more power is getting away from this really kind of level position that I see so many club level players in when they go to serve. Right shoulder and left shoulder are setting at the same height, contact coming into the ball kind of more straight on and low. We want to work on pitching the shoulders or tilting the shoulders, because what that does when we toss the ball and start to get the left shoulder higher than the right shoulder is it sets us in an athletic position to swing up to the tennis ball. A la the forehand or backhand, we're trying to rotate back and coil ourselves. With the serve, obviously we already start sideways. So essentially we've already turned the body. But the way to kind of get that extra coil, that extra tightness to make sure that we explode on the ball is to get out of the position where the shoulders are level and start to let that left shoulder sit up and the right shoulder dip. I think every one of you out there have seen the top of a tennis trophy. They're not standing like this. They're like this. And if you need help with this position to make it more natural, a little tip is your lead hip. For me, my left hip, I want to pop it out into the court some, because that's going to dip the right shoulder back and help the left shoulder get up. And in this position, I'm really geared to go up high on the ball and crank from a high position. There's a lot of power to be had up, not a ton of power on the serve to be had straight outward, okay? The third, and this is hands down the most important part, is the idea of pronation, all right? So everybody out there has heard this term. I think a lot of you know this term, but what level do you use pronation at? And this is something where the wrist has to make sure that the palm of the hand and the forearm at the last possible second turn downward, okay? And all that's doing is taking the edge of the racket and making the strings available to the ball at the last possible second. We've talked about lag on forehands and backhands and waiting till the last possible second to generate power. Pronation is the serve's way of getting that feeling. We want to lead with the edge because we're in continental grip, and a player that leads with the edge and starts to turn the strings out early, much too early before we get to the ball, will not get power the way a player who leads with the edge longer and then in a really fast move turns that palm and forearm down. This player is going to have a much more explosive ball at contact. That right there is an excellent drill to go out and practice, so you're not too results oriented with the serve, but more get in tuned with the timing of your pronation. I want to wait on pronating and pop that ball from top to bottom, and that's going to give me a lot of power in my swing. Okay, so I'll get out here and show you a couple in a sec, but it's really simply about coming back from that pronation idea to that shoulder tilt and making sure that I'm positioning the toss in a spot where those last two elements are easy to achieve. All right, so let's take a look at a few here. Felt pretty good power there. Yeah, we'll take those two all day. That second one might have been a little long, but again, when we're working on something like generating more power, I think we all need to understand we don't make every shot that we want to get more power with. We got to take this stuff with a grain of salt. So if you go out and practice that serve to get those positions and those feelings down, don't be worried if you're hitting the ball bigger but you miss a couple. Like, the goal is not to just go out and make every serve, it's to generate more pop. Okay, and that's all I got for you today. Hope that was super helpful. Please click like below this video, and if you have not subscribed to our channel yet, please do so, as well as check down below me in the description of this video. You're going to find the link to 3 free courses Mark and I have put together. I think you'll find those really helpful as well. All right, so until next time, be well. We'll see you soon at Daily Tennis Lesson.